Hey friends, Peter Frosciano here. Welcome back to my series on the Canon M6 Mark II. In today's video, I'm going to finish talking about all of the menu functions or the menus themselves. I'm going to show you how to set up your favorites, get into a little bit of the customization of the buttons, and wrap up the mode dial Custom 1 and Custom 2. So let's go ahead and jump into today's video. Okay, let's go ahead and jam through this one really quick. I have my camera set on movie mode. I'm going to turn the camera on. Click on the menu button. The last time I turned the camera on, I was on the camera settings 1. I'm going to go ahead and scroll to my star menu, which is add my menu tab. I'm going to go ahead and add my favorites here. I want to configure my favorites to the things that I use the most, so I don't have to continuously dive into each of these individual menus to try to find something that I use the most. Every one of these menu items and all of the individual tabs below the individual menu items are going to be found on this configuration menu. So I'm on the star, menu number 1, configure, click OK, select items to register, and all of these menu items are the things you can select so you don't have to continuously dig into what I previously said, all of those individual menus. I'm not going to set everything up, but I just kind of want to show you how to do this. The one thing that I use the most is formatting my card. So I'm going to go ahead and use the scroll wheel. I'm going to run up to find format card. Format card, click OK. Format card's blacked out, so I know it's registered. Something that I also I also get to the Wi-Fi Bluetooth connection. I'm going to go ahead and click on OK. I switch back and forth with my movie modes. So also time-lapse movie, I'll end up doing that one as well. My movie record quality, so I can use this so I can jump back and forth between 4K and 1080p. So once I have all these things set, I click on my menu, and these are the objects that I use the most. Formatting card, Wi-Fi, time-lapse movie record quality. And as you work through your actual process, you're going to figure out which items that you use the most, and you can just throw them into here, so you don't have to, again, this is like a broken record, so you don't have to keep going back into these individual menus to try to find the things that you want to do the most. Now I know on the wrench menu, format card is here, but if I'm on my wrench menu and I want to change my recording quality, I have to go all the way back to the camera setting, movie record quality, and then get into that. But like I had mentioned, if I'm already on the star menu, everything that I use the most is right here. Configure it the way that you want. This is how I'm going to configure mine. Speaking of configuration, this camera also allows you to customize the buttons. So if you don't like the way that this comes as default, just scroll to the orange camera function button, scroll down to camera function 3, operation and others, click OK, select OK, and this gives you an arrangement of all the buttons. And as you scroll through this, you can configure your buttons the way that you like it. If you don't want to half press the shutter to focus, you can go ahead and select on that and maybe change it to a back button focus, the star button here. This camera already comes pre-programmed with this button being back button focus, so I just leave it the way that it is. You need to mess around with this and figure out what works best for you, where your hand placement is, and how fast you can get to something. And if you decide that you don't like where one of these buttons is and you keep accidentally pressing it and you want to disable it, maybe just go in there and shut it off. If it gives you the option to shut it off, just scroll down and then turn that function off. And again, you'll be able to figure out which button works best for you and which layout is going to work best for you. You just have to get in and use the camera to figure all that out. But that is another option to customize the camera to suit you. Which brings us to the last point of customization, which is the custom function 1 and the custom function 2 dial at the top. In my previous video, I talked about custom function 1. My menu settings on the custom function are the exact same as my manual settings, The only difference is I have silent shooting designated for my C1 manual mode. My drive mode is on single shot and my shutter mode is on electronic. Everything else is the same. If you want your custom function to be something different, then just go through your menu and figure out which one you want to do. After you've set your menu up, you're going to go to your wrench menu where it says custom shooting mode C1, C2. You're going to go ahead and click on that and you're going to register your settings. So anytime that you're in manual mode and you think, okay, well, there's something on here that I don't want, but you've set your additional menu up for custom function 1, you can just flip to 1 and all of your settings will be right there. If I go to my custom function 1, you're going to notice that the last time I set this function up, get this back in here. The last time I set this function up, I was at 1/1000th of a second. I was shooting at f2 and I was on auto ISO. I was taking pictures of birds and they were moving pretty quick. And I'm also on my electronic shutter. So again, this one has memory. So if you're in your manual function mode, you're in a situation where you're shooting a certain subject and you've already got everything set. If you flip to your custom 1, it's going to register the way that it was when you initially set your custom shooting mode. So you just need to be careful about that. Which brings us now to our last button. Custom function number 2. I'm a manual shooter. I don't really want the camera to do anything for me. I want to choose my ISO, my shutter speed, and my aperture. If you put your camera on C2, this puts you in priority mode, and I believe you have the ability to change your shutter speed and your exposure compensation, but the camera is going to determine your ISO and your aperture, and I don't want that. But if you're a person that shoots auto all the time, then you don't have to worry about it. You can go ahead and customize this mode however you see fit. Okay, so I think that's going to do it. I've pretty much showed you every single menu on how I set the camera up, how to customize it to suit myself. And again, a disclaimer here, as you go through your individual shooting, you're going to find what works and what doesn't, and you're going to customize this to how you shoot. I hope these last 4 videos kind of gave you a starting point on how to set the camera up. And from here on out, I'm going to now start diving into the actual functions of the camera to show you how some of these individual things work. So again, that's going to about do it. I hope you enjoyed these last 4 videos talking about how to kind of get your feet wet with setting up the menus so operating the camera is a little bit easier. From now on, the rest of these videos, I'm going to start talking about the actual functions themselves. I'm going to kind of get out of my studio, go outside and show you how these functions actually work in the real world. No more of this dry just sitting down explaining the menus. I hope you guys got value out of this. Go ahead and like, subscribe, share, click on that notifications button, and I'll go ahead and see you guys in the next one. Bye.